The golden hour light streamed through the large windows of Bella Vista, one of the most exclusive Italian restaurants in downtown Manhattan. The establishment was known for its authentic Northern Italian cuisine, impeccable service, and clientele that included celebrities, business moguls, and politicians. On this particular Friday evening, the restaurant buzzed with the quiet conversations of well-dressed diners celebrating the end of another successful week. At table 12, near the window overlooking Central Park, sat Marcus and Jennifer Hamilton, a couple who appeared to embody success and sophistication. Marcus, 42, was a prominent investment banker whose tailored suit and confident demeanor commanded attention wherever he went. Jennifer, 38, was equally impressive, a successful art curator whose gallery had recently been featured in Architectural Digest. They had been married for 8 years and were considered one of the city's power couples. Their server for the evening was Sofia Torini, a 26-year-old woman who had moved to New York from Bologna 3 years earlier to pursue her master's degree in international relations at Columbia University. To support herself through school, Sofia worked evenings at Bella Vista, where her fluent Italian and knowledge of authentic cuisine made her invaluable to the management. Most customers assumed she was just another aspiring actress or model working to pay the bills, never suspecting her impressive academic credentials or the fact that she spoke 5 languages fluently. Marcus had specifically requested a table at Bella Vista because he wanted to impress his wife with his knowledge of Italian culture and cuisine. He had been taking Italian lessons for 6 months, though his progress was limited and his pronunciation left much to be desired. Still, he enjoyed showing off his newfound linguistic skills, especially when he thought it made him appear more worldly and sophisticated. "The osso buco here is exceptional," Marcus told Jennifer as they perused their menus. "I learned about it during my business trip to Milan last month. The chef there taught me the proper way to order it." He looked up as Sofia approached their table, his chest puffing slightly with pride. "Good evening," Sofia said, with a warm smile, her slight Italian accent adding authenticity to the restaurant's atmosphere. "My name is Sofia, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you with something to drink?" Marcus immediately seized the opportunity to demonstrate his Italian skills. "Buonasera, signorina. Vorremmo una bottiglia del vostro miglior Barolo, per favore." His pronunciation was clumsy, and he mixed up several endings, but Sofia understood what he was trying to say. "Certamente, signore." "An excellent choice," Sofia replied in English, maintaining her professional demeanor despite noticing his linguistic mistakes. She had learned to be diplomatic with customers who attempted to speak Italian, understanding that their efforts, however flawed, came from a place of appreciation for her culture. Jennifer smiled at her husband's attempt to speak Italian. "I'm always amazed by how quickly you pick up languages," she said admiringly. "Between your business trips to Europe and your language lessons, you're becoming quite the international businessman." Marcus beamed at the compliment. He had always prided himself on his ability to adapt and excel in any situation, and learning Italian was just another feather in his cap. What Jennifer didn't know was that his recent business trips had become opportunities for more than just professional development. As Sofia returned with their wine and took their dinner orders, Marcus continued to pepper his conversation with Italian phrases, clearly enjoying the opportunity to show off. Sofia remained patient and professional, occasionally offering gentle corrections to his pronunciation, which only seemed to encourage him further. "You know, Jennifer," Marcus said as they waited for their appetizers, "I've been thinking about buying that vacation home in Tuscany we discussed. With all the business connections I'm developing in Italy, it would make sense to have a base there." Jennifer's eyes lit up with excitement. "Really? That would be incredible. We could spend summers there, and I could explore the Italian art scene. There are so many galleries and museums I've been wanting to visit." Marcus nodded enthusiastically, though his mind was already racing ahead to the possibilities that a Tuscan home would provide. It would be the perfect cover for extended trips to Europe, and his Italian business partner Julia would love having a private place to meet, away from the prying eyes of their respective social circles. As the evening progressed and the wine flowed, Marcus became increasingly relaxed and talkative. When his business partner called during dinner, he excused himself to take the call in the restaurant's small alcove near the bar. Sofia was cleaning a nearby table when she heard Marcus speaking in rapid Italian, his voice animated and excited. What Marcus didn't realize was that his Italian, while enthusiastic, was far from private. His pronunciation was clear enough that Sofia could understand every word he was saying, and what she heard made her stomach turn. Giulia, amore mio, Marcus was saying into his phone, non vedo l'ora di vederti la prossima settimana a Milano. Jennifer pensa che sia solo un viaggio di lavoro, ma sappiamo entrambi cosa succederà davvero. Quella stupida non ha idea di quello che sta succedendo alle sue spalle. Sofia froze, her cloth suspended over the table she was wiping. Marcus had just told someone named Giulia that he couldn't wait to see her next week in Milan, that Jennifer thought it was just a business trip, but they both knew what was really going to happen. He had called his wife stupid, and said she had no idea what was happening behind her back. Oggi ha prenotato la suite al Four Seasons, Marcus continued, completely oblivious to Sofia's presence just a few feet away. Quella dove siamo stati l'ultima volta. Jennifer sarà impegnata con la sua stupida galleria d'arte e non mi farà domande su dove sono stato. È così ingenua, crede a tutto quello che le dico. Sofia's hands trembled as she processed what she was hearing. Marcus was bragging about booking the same suite at the Four Seasons where he had previously met this Giulia woman. He was calling Jennifer naive and saying she believed everything he told her. The casual cruelty in his voice as he spoke about deceiving his wife was shocking. E la cosa migliore, Marcus laughed into the phone, è che sto anche imparando l'italiano per impressionarla. Pensa che lo faccia per diventare un uomo d'affari più sofisticato, ma in realtà lo sto facendo per comunicare meglio con te, tesoro. L'ironia è deliziosa. The final insult was devastating. Marcus was revealing that he was learning Italian not to impress Jennifer or for business, but to communicate better with his mistress. He found the irony delicious that his wife was praising him for learning the language he was using to conduct his affair. Sofia stood frozen, her heart pounding as she listened to Marcus wrap up his call, with promises to see Giulia soon and expressions of love that should have been reserved for his wife. When he finally hung up and returned to the table, Sofia had to compose herself before approaching to serve the main course. Jennifer was radiant with happiness as Marcus rejoined her, clearly enjoying what she thought was a romantic evening with her devoted husband. That was Giulia from the Milan office, Marcus explained smoothly. Just confirming some details for next week's trip. She's been incredibly helpful with the Italian market expansion. She sounds lovely, Jennifer said innocently. Maybe we could have dinner with her and her husband when we visit Italy. Marcus nearly choked on his wine. Oh, she's very busy, very focused on work. I doubt she'd have time for social dinners. Sofia approached the table with her entrees, her professional smile masking the turmoil she felt inside. As she set down Jennifer's plate, she caught the other woman's eye and felt a stab of sympathy for someone who was clearly being deceived by the person she trusted most. Throughout the rest of the meal, Sofia found herself paying closer attention to the couple's interaction. Jennifer was warm, loving, and clearly devoted to her husband. She asked thoughtful questions about his work, shared stories about her gallery, and spoke excitedly about their future plans together. Marcus played his part perfectly, responding with apparent affection while occasionally throwing in Italian phrases that Jennifer praised as evidence of his growing sophistication. As the evening drew to a close and Sofia brought the check, she faced an agonizing decision. She had accidentally overheard information that could destroy a marriage, but she had only heard Marcus's side of a phone conversation. Maybe she had misunderstood something. Maybe there was an innocent explanation. But deep in her heart, she knew exactly what she had heard. Jennifer excused herself to visit the restroom before they left, giving Sofia a moment alone with Marcus. He was signing the credit card receipt when he looked up and said in his broken Italian, "Grazie per una serata perfetta, signorina. Il servizio è stato eccellente." Sofia looked directly into his eyes and replied in perfect, fluent Italian, "Prego, signore. E spero che sua moglie non scopra mai quello che ha pianificato per Milano con Giulia. Sarebbe davvero devastante per una donna così dolce." The color drained from Marcus's face, as Sofia's words hit him like a physical blow. She had just said that she hoped his wife would never discover what he had planned in Milan with Giulia, because it would be devastating for such a sweet woman. Not only did Sofia understand Italian perfectly, but she had clearly overheard and understood his entire phone conversation. You speak Italian," Marcus stammered, his earlier confidence completely shattered. "Fluentemente," Sofia replied, which meant fluently. "Ho sentito ogni parola della sua telefonata con Giulia. Ogni singola parola spregevole. Marcus realized with growing horror that Sophia had heard every word of his call with Julia, every despicable word. His mind raced as he tried to figure out how to handle this disaster. Sophia held all the power now, and he was completely at her mercy. "Listen," Marcus whispered urgently, glancing toward the restroom where Jennifer had disappeared. "Whatever you think you heard, you're mistaken. It was just business talk. I can explain everything." Sophia's expression was cold and contemptuous. "Signore, ho capito perfettamente quando ha chiamato SUA moglie stupida e ingenua. Ho capito quando ha detto che non ha idea di quello che succede alle sue spalle. E ho capito quando ha riso dell'ironia che lei pensa che stia imparando l'italiano per lei, quando in realtà lo sta facendo per la sua amante." Each word Sophia spoke was like a dagger to Marcus's heart. She was repeating back to him exactly what he had said about his wife being stupid and naive, about Jennifer having no idea what was happening behind her back, and about the irony of Jennifer thinking he was learning Italian for her when he was actually doing it for his mistress. Marcus's hands shook as he realized the full extent of his predicament. "What do you want?" he asked desperately. "Money? I can pay you to forget what you heard." Sophia's eyes flashed with disgust. "Lei pensa che io sia il tipo di persona che si può comprare? Sua moglie merita di sapere che tipo di uomo ha sposato." Marcus felt sick as Sophia told him that he thought she was the type of person who could be bought, and that his wife deserved to know what kind of man she had married. This wasn't going to be about money or bargaining. Sophia was operating from a place of moral conviction, and that made her far more dangerous than any opportunist. Jennifer emerged from the restroom just as Marcus was frantically trying to figure out how to salvage the situation. She walked toward the table with a smile, completely unaware that her world was about to change forever. "Ready to go, darling?" Jennifer asked as she approached. This was such a wonderful evening. The food was incredible, and Sophia provided such excellent service. Sophia looked at Jennifer's trusting, happy face, then at Marcus, who was staring at her with a mixture of terror and desperate pleading. The weight of what she knew felt enormous, but she also knew that Jennifer deserved the truth. "Signora Hamilton," Sophia said gently, "before you leave there is something I need to tell you, something your husband said tonight that I think you should know about." Jennifer looked confused, glancing between Sophia and Marcus. "I'm sorry, I don't understand. Is there a problem with the bill?" Marcus jumped to his feet. "There's no problem at all. Sophia is mistaken about something. We should really be going, Jennifer. I have an early meeting tomorrow." But Sophia stepped closer to Jennifer, her voice gentle but firm. "Signora, your husband made a phone call tonight while you were here. He spoke in Italian because he thought no one would understand, but I understood every word." Jennifer's smile began to fade as she sensed the gravity of the situation. "What kind of phone call?" "A call to a woman named Julia in Milan," Sophia continued, her heart breaking as she watched the realization begin to dawn in Jennifer's eyes. "He told her he couldn't wait to see her next week, that you think it's just a business trip, but they both know what's really going to happen." The restaurant seemed to go silent around them as Jennifer processed Sophia's words. Marcus made a desperate attempt to interrupt. "Jennifer, don't listen to this. She's obviously confused about what she heard. My Italian isn't even that good." Sophia turned to face Marcus directly. "Your Italian was clear enough for me to understand when you called your wife stupid and naive. When you said she has no idea what's happening behind her back. When you laughed about the irony that she thinks you're learning Italian to impress her. When you're really doing it to communicate with your mistress." Jennifer's face went white as Sophia repeated Marcus's words with devastating accuracy. The woman who had been glowing with happiness just moments before now looked like she might collapse. "You said that?" Jennifer asked Marcus, her voice barely above a whisper. "You called me stupid and naive?" Marcus's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. There was no way to deny what Sophia had heard, no way to explain away the cruelty and callousness of his words. "Jennifer, I can explain. It's not what it sounds like." "Then explain it," Jennifer said, her voice growing stronger with anger. "Explain why you would say those things about me to another woman. Explain why you're planning to see this Julia person in Milan, while lying to me about it being a business trip." The other diners in the restaurant had begun to notice the commotion, with several people turning to stare at the drama unfolding at table 12. Marcus was acutely aware of the attention they were drawing, which only added to his desperation. "This is not the place for this conversation," Marcus hissed. "We should discuss this at home, privately." "No," Jennifer said firmly. "I want to know right now. I want to know if what Sophia heard is true." Sophia stood beside Jennifer, offering silent support to a woman whose world was crumbling. "Signora, I heard him book a suite at the Four Seasons in Milan. The same suite where he said they had been before. He told this Julia that you would be busy with your gallery and wouldn't ask questions about where he had been." Each detail Sophia provided was like another nail in the coffin of Marcus's marriage. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears as the full scope of her husband's betrayal became clear. 8 years, Jennifer said, her voice breaking. 8 years of marriage. And this is what you really think of me? This is how you talk about me when you think I can't understand? Marcus reached for her hands, but Jennifer pulled away. "Jennifer, please. Let me explain. It's complicated." "Complicated?" Jennifer's voice rose, drawing even more attention from other diners. "What's complicated about calling your wife stupid while planning to meet your mistress in Milan?" Sophia gently touched Jennifer's arm. "Signora, perhaps you would like to sit down? I can bring you some water." Jennifer nodded gratefully, sinking back into her chair. The shock was beginning to give way to devastating hurt and anger. "How long has this been going on, Marcus?" Marcus sat down across from her, his earlier confidence completely shattered. "Jennifer, we're not." "How long?" Jennifer repeated, her voice like steel. 6 months, Marcus admitted finally, the words coming out like a confession. "But it doesn't mean anything. It's just physical. I love you, Jennifer. I have always loved you." The words hit Jennifer like slaps. Not only had Marcus been cheating for 6 months, but he was now trying to minimize the betrayal by claiming it was just physical. The man she had trusted completely, the man she had been planning a future with, had been living a double life for half a year. "Just physical," Jennifer repeated numbly. 6 months of lying to me, 6 months of planning secret trips, 6 months of calling me stupid behind my back, and it's just physical?" Sophia stood quietly nearby, her heart aching for Jennifer. She had seen the transformation from a happy, loving wife to a devastated woman discovering her husband's betrayal. The cruelty of Marcus's words had been bad enough when Sophia first heard them, but seeing their impact on Jennifer made them even more painful. "And the Italian lessons?" Jennifer asked, her voice hollow. "Were those part of the lie too?" Marcus couldn't meet her eyes. "I wanted to communicate better with Julia. She doesn't speak much English." The admission was the final blow. Jennifer had been so proud of Marcus for expanding his cultural horizons, had encouraged his language learning and praised his growing sophistication. To learn that it had all been in service of an affair was devastating beyond words. Jennifer stood up slowly, her movements careful and deliberate. "I'm leaving now. Don't follow me. Don't call me. Don't come home tonight." "Jennifer, please," Marcus pleaded. "We can work through this. We can go to counseling. I'll end things with Julia, immediately." Jennifer looked at him with an expression of profound sadness and disgust. "Marcus, you called me stupid and naive, but I'm not stupid enough to believe that someone who could be so cruel and calculating would change just because he got caught." She turned to Sophia, who had been standing silently through the entire confrontation. "Thank you," Jennifer said simply. "Thank you for having the courage to tell me the truth. I know it couldn't have been easy." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, Signora. I wish I had better news to share." "You gave me the truth," Jennifer replied. "That's worth more than any comfortable lie." As Jennifer walked toward the exit, Marcus jumped up to follow her. "Jennifer, wait. We need to talk about this rationally." But Jennifer didn't look back. She walked out of Bella Vista with her head held high, leaving behind not just her cheating husband, but 8 years of marriage and all the plans they had made together. Marcus stood in the middle of the restaurant, suddenly aware that dozens of people had witnessed his humiliation. The sophisticated businessman who had started the evening trying to impress people with his Italian phrases was now the center of a scandal that would be gossiped about for weeks. Sophia approached him one final time. "Signore," she said quietly, "perhaps next time you will remember that not everyone is as ignorant as you assume them to be." The words were delivered with quiet dignity, but their impact was devastating. Marcus had been undone not by his wife's suspicions or a private investigator, but by his own arrogance and the assumption that his linguistic superiority made him untouchable. In the months that followed, Jennifer filed for divorce and threw herself into her work at the gallery. The divorce proceedings were swift, with Marcus offering little resistance after his behavior became public knowledge. The story of the cheating husband who was exposed by a waitress who understood Italian became legendary in their social circle, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of assumption and arrogance. Sophia completed her master's degree and eventually started her own consulting firm, helping international businesses navigate cultural and linguistic challenges. She often thought about that night at Bella Vista, remembering it as a moment when she had to choose between comfortable silence and difficult truth. Marcus's affair with Julia ended shortly after his exposure, when she learned that his wife had discovered their relationship. He found himself alone, his reputation damaged, and his assumption of linguistic superiority revealed as nothing more than dangerous arrogance. The lesson was clear. In a city as diverse as New York, assuming that others don't understand your language is not just rude, it's foolish. Sophia had learned that truth has a way of emerging, often from the most unexpected sources, and that sometimes the person you least expect to understand your secrets is exactly the person who will reveal them. Jennifer eventually found love again with someone who valued honesty and treated her with the respect she deserved. And Sophia never forgot the importance of speaking up when witnessing injustice, even when it meant shattering someone's comfortable illusions about their life. The months that followed, Jennifer filed for divorce and threw herself into her work at the gallery. The divorce proceedings were swift, with Marcus offering little resistance after his behavior became public knowledge. The story of the cheating husband who was exposed by a waitress who understood Italian became legendary in their social circle, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of assumption and arrogance. Sophia completed her master's degree and eventually started her own consulting firm, helping international businesses navigate cultural and linguistic challenges. She often thought about that night at Bella Vista, remembering it as a moment when she had to choose between comfortable silence and difficult truth. Marcus's affair with Julia ended shortly after his exposure, when she learned that his wife had discovered their relationship. He found himself alone, his reputation damaged, and his assumption of linguistic superiority revealed as nothing more than dangerous arrogance. 2 years later, Jennifer was hosting an opening at her gallery when she spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Sophia stood admiring a contemporary Italian sculpture, her appearance more polished now that she had completed her degree and launched her consulting business. "Sophia," Jennifer called out warmly, making her way through the crowd. "I can't believe you're here." Sophia smiled, genuinely pleased to see Jennifer looking radiant and confident. "Jennifer, you look wonderful. I heard about your gallery's success. I'm so happy for you." "I owe you so much," Jennifer said, taking Sophia's hands. "That night changed my life. It was devastating at the time, but you saved me from years of living a lie." Sophia squeezed her hands gently. "You would have discovered the truth eventually. I just happened to be there when it needed to be told." "Actually," Jennifer continued with a mischievous smile, "I have something to tell you. I've been taking Italian lessons myself, and last month, when Marcus tried to contact me through a mutual friend, I was able to understand exactly what he was saying about me to that friend in Italian." She paused dramatically. "Let's just say his opinion of me hasn't improved, even after everything." Sophia laughed, a sound of pure delight. "And what did you do?" "I responded to him in perfect Italian, telling him exactly what I thought of men who hide behind foreign languages to insult people they claim to love." You should have seen his face. As they stood together in the gallery, surrounded by beautiful art and the buzz of successful people celebrating creativity, both women reflected on how a single moment of courage could change everything. Sophia had taught Jennifer that truth, no matter how painful, was always preferable to a beautiful lie. And Jennifer had learned that sometimes the person who seems least likely to understand your secrets is exactly the person who will hold you accountable for them. The sculpture Sophia had been admiring was titled Hidden Voices, and as they stood before it together, both women understood that everyone has a voice worth hearing, and everyone deserves the truth, no matter what language it's spoken in. The end.